Good evening, everybody. How we all doing? Nice to see so many people in the chat already. We'll let it build a little bit, and then we're going to get straight into a huge stream we've got tonight. The start of Q4, the start of October. Things are about to get exciting, hopefully. We're going to go through it tonight. We're going to cover some Bitcoin analysis. We've got a few sneaky surprises in, and we're going to go through what we think is going to be one of the best quarters in a long time. We'll let some more people build up, and then we'll dive into some Bitcoin analysis. How's everyone tonight? See the chat's filling up nicely. You can see Bitcoin just hanging around 27k. It's been a long time, still hanging below that $31,000 level. We're going to look at the bear market, we're going to look at what's to come in October, and hopefully what we've got coming in the next 6 months as we lead up to the halving. Evening JJ, Ashley, how we all doing? A nice Sunday night stream before everybody goes back to their normal working week. So let's dive into some Bitcoin charts. Let's look at the weekly. We just had a monster monthly candle, which is unlike September. If anyone's been paying attention, if you're not in CC Pro, you'll have maybe missed out on some of the analysis we've been given over the last few weeks. We did say September was going to be a bit of a hit or miss month. And let's have a look. The monthly candle closed obviously last night, the end of the month, but it was also the end of the quarter. So a huge month. And if we have a look at Bitcoin, it's up 4% on the month. So that's a huge month for a September. Normally September's a red month, so to do a 4% candle, that is a big deal. And kickstart Q4 and October. Right, let's see if we're back. Sorry, YouTube seems to be playing up tonight. Maybe it doesn't like the fact that September was such a bullish month for Bitcoin. Maybe we're being censored. Let's have a look. Let's see. Cool, Jamie's on the ball. So let's have a look back at some of the Bitcoin price. So we're about to close out the week. Let's see how we're doing. Everyone still with me? Okay, I think we're back. Apologies everyone, YouTube just had a bit of a meltdown. So, as I was saying, we're about to have a weekly candle, which is a bullish engulfing candle. We're closing up about 3%. So, a huge month, a huge week, and we're about to start October in really good fashion. If we look at some of the shorter time frames, it is very exciting as well. Now, anyone that's in CC Pro knows that we took a long on Bitcoin a couple of days ago, and it's playing out really well. We'll cover that in a second. But if we look at this price action, it's pretty much done exactly what we said we thought it would do. It's came down, it's tested this box here, and it's now rallied. Came back to retest here and continued on up. So Bitcoin's looking pretty healthy. It just needs to get past this resistance here. So on Bitcoin, we took a long around here, around the $26,900 level, and we've taken some profit up here, and we're going to re-enter if we come back down. This seems to be quite a big sticking point for Bitcoin. It's tested it a few times. Maybe get one more test. It depends on what's going to happen in the US. There's a lot of things going on in the economy. So massive month, I think, October for the US economy and of course Bitcoin. Let's see what's happening here. I think we're having a bit of Wi-Fi issues. Let me see if we can get up and running. How are we doing, Lewis, Glasgow? How are you? Let me see. Right, give me 2 seconds, guys. I'm going to try and fix this and we'll get back to you in a second. Right, evening everyone. Right, let's start this again. Let's get going. So we're talking about Bitcoin. We can see this area here, 27k, is acting as a bit of a resistance. We've been rejected off it, but I think we're going to probably level out here, close the week, close the day. If we close above 27k, I think we'll get enough ammunition to blast through here and upwards. I'm pretty bullish for October, and I'll show you in a wee while why. September is typically the red month, October typically very green. So I think this is going to be our stumbling block. These 200 MAs, the daily and the weekly, at 28,000. Not to mention that is a previous area of resistance. You can see it was resistance here, support here, resistance, support, resistance. So 28k is a big level for Bitcoin. The 2 MAs being there doesn't exactly help, but if we get any positive, us get back up to the range highs, 30k in October. If we zoom out, I just wanted to show you something that Deck mentioned. He mentioned a few times, but you can see that we've still not breached this level. That goes back to May 2022. So we're still under this $31,500 level. 504 days. 504 days is a long time to be under this resistance. So it's going to take a wee bit of time to get through it. But if anyone knows the rule of 3, CC Pro members definitely know, we've spoke about this a lot. It's just like battering down a door. If you wanted to run at a door to batter it down, the first time it weakens, the second time it weakens again, the third time you'd probably get through. That's exactly what a resistance is like. So here, 1, 2 tests here, and I think we're going to probably October, November retest this area, and the third time I would imagine we're going to blast through it, and that is very bullish for Bitcoin, not just for the people holding it, but also it'll mean shorts close, because nearly every single short will have a stop loss around 32k. So if you're shorting and your stop loss is there, the minute you close the short, it effectively buys back into the market, and that's what you get, a short squeeze. And you'll hear that term quite a lot. So I'm bullish for that coming up, and we'll just show you why before we go into any other analysis. So you might have seen, this is Will Clementi's chart that he's been sharing. We've shared it a few times. You can see September here, a typically red month. There's only been 2 green Septembers in Bitcoin's history. 6% back in 2015 and a 2% in 2014. And you can see how green October typically is. We've only had 2 red Octobers in the history of Bitcoin. So with a green September, the last 2 green Septembers led to very green Octobers. So it's all bullish for me. We've also got the fact that we're probably going to see some intervention in the US economy by the Fed, increase the liquidity. That is always bullish for Bitcoin. If we flip back, we can see we're just closing off the weekly candle tonight. Above 27k is very bullish. And you can also see we've just soaked up all this liquidity in this wick, which is really great. And we talk a lot about that when we're doing our analysis. If we flip over to XRP still in an uptrend. So this is the weekly chart. You can see we're basically trending up because you've got a low here, a higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So a really bullish uptrend for XRP. Obviously I had the party on Friday night and the price is now consolidating above the 50 cent level, which is kind of where we need it to be. It's also right at the MA. So we've kind of been rejected off the 200 MA right now. But again, I think Bitcoin will probably lead in the next few weeks and we'll see XRP catch up, probably reclaim this area as support, and then we're off to the races. Jay, you are spot on. Flip resistance into support, and then we're off to the races. Now, if we look at BNB, BNB's had a lot of heat recently. The one concerning thing about the altcoin market for me is BNB is currently in a downtrend. You've got a high there, you've got a lower high, lower high. Now, if we also talk about flipping resistance into support, I think we're in danger BNB loses this support here and then flips it into resistance. And the reason being, we've already tested this support once, twice, 3 times. So the theory would hold that if we test this again, we're probably going to fall through it. So we might see something, let me try and draw it on for you. We might see something like this in the coming weeks. And that would spell a bit of a disaster for the altcoin market. That would be really bad for Binance, but it could be really good for Bitcoin, as money would then flow back into Bitcoin, the safe haven asset. And anybody that's been listening to the podcast, following us on CC Pro, you'll know we speak about Bitcoin being this safe haven asset. And I think over the next 6 months, we might see that narrative come back. A bit like gold, somewhere that people can park their money when the economy is in trouble. Okay, so anyone that's not in CC Pro, we've got our Discord community. We have so much information in there. If you're not on CC Pro, you're not getting the daily updates, you're not getting the market analysis. You've got the chat room, you've got trades. We just had a successful trade that's now in profit. If you're not involved in CC Pro, you're missing out. And this is the key time of the year to be informed. The summer was boring, we get that. Sell in May and go away. That's the key saying in Wall Street. It proved right this year. The summer was very boring, so a lot of people switched off. A lot of people got bored of crypto. They left crypto for a few months. Now is the time to double down on your crypto education, analysis, and daily updates. And we get it. You can't analyze all these charts, like look at all these altcoins, the markets. You've got the traditional market, you've got to monitor the news. The normal, most investors don't have time to do all that, and we do it all for you. So one-stop shop gives you all the information you need. So if you're not in CC Pro, you are not helping yourself realize as much profit as possible when the bull run comes around. All right, if we flip back to the altcoin market, I just want to quickly show this. And this is why, or one of the reasons that I think we may see some downside in some of the altcoins. And it would probably be led by some news from the SEC or something like that. But you can see we keep getting rejected off this level here. I'll just draw it on so that it's nice and easy for everybody to see. So you can see it was a resistance flipped into support. It was support here, but it's been resistance pretty much for the last, how long is that? 2 months. And again, this candle, this daily candle here, leads me to believe that there's probably a bit of downside to come for the altcoin market, maybe led by BNB, which obviously has a massive market cap. So we're still not out of the woods. We're still in a bear market, and everybody needs to remember that. We are excited for October and Q4, but in terms of some of the altcoins, I think we may see some downside. And the Ethereum Bitcoin chart also kind of tells that story. Let's zoom out on this, and you can see that we're still in this fallen wedge, and it doesn't seem to have dropped out yet. But having said that, it's crypto. All it takes is a little spark, and it can light a fire and pump the market massively. So it's not all lost. This is a nice bullish engulfing candle on the weekly for the altcoin market for ETH versus Bitcoin. But as I said before, this BNB downtrend doesn't look great. We'll leave this path on, see if this plays out. If this plays out, then some altcoins will really struggle, but it could be bullish for Bitcoin. And that could be the flow of money that we need to increase the volume into Bitcoin and really get us going. Bitcoin always leads, remember that. Does anyone have any questions? I'm going to cover a few reasons why I think October could be very, very exciting in a second. Alright, so one of the reasons I am very, very bullish on Bitcoin, especially over the next 90 days, is all this on the right hand side. All this here. This is the yield for US government debt. And if we look at the 2 year on the weekly chart, you can see it's not been this high in a long, long time. 2007. We look at the 10 year. And although it's probably topped, it's not been this high since 2007. And if we look at the 30 year, it's not been this high since 2011. So what that means is that US Treasury yields are spiking because no one wants to own government debt in the US. And what's going to happen is the US government's not going to stop spending. The US government's going to keep issuing debt, and the Fed is going to have to buy that debt. But also, the problem you have when you own a treasury is when the yield goes up, the value of that treasury you hold goes down. And what all the banks did during 2020 and 2021 is they bought loads of government debt. Now, back then, yields were 1%. Since that yields went up 5 times, the value of that treasury has dropped, which means US regional banks have no underlying assets of any value. And as more and more people pull their money out of the bank to pay for their life because of inflation, the banks having to sell US treasuries in like 40%, 30% losses. they can only do that for so long. So as inflation takes hold again, cost of living keeps going up, the average American's pulling their money out of a bank, the regional banks are under a lot of pressure. And what we saw the last time the regional banks were under a lot of pressure was Bitcoin absolutely mooned. 28% weekly candle the last time we saw regional bank crisis in America back in March. So that's why I'm so bullish on Bitcoin. I'm bullish on Bitcoin because it's Bitcoin, but I'm also bullish because the US government is in such a mess with the amount of debt they've created. I think they've issued something like $1 trillion of debt since June, and that's only going to continue. So for me, it's not just Bitcoin, it's also the fact that the US government's going to have to intervene. People are waking up to the fact that Bitcoin is a safe haven asset, which is why it's pretty much went sideways. So if you look at Bitcoin in the past, 2 months, it's pretty much moved from 26,000 up to 27,000. $1,000 range for 2 months for Bitcoin is nothing, especially when we compare it to the dollar index, which over the same period is up 5%. So normally when the dollar index moons like this, you would see Bitcoin absolutely dump. We've not saw that, and that tells me that there is buying pressure, but relative to the dollar, that's why we're moving sideways. The minute this dollar retracement happens, let me flip to the weekly, because you can see how powerful that move's been from the dollar. As soon as this tops out and starts coming down, that's where I think Bitcoin could fly. And CC Pro members will know we called this level. We actually put a post out that said, if it breaches this level, this is the area we're going to aim for, but we thought this was going to be the peak. And if we're right, then Bitcoin is ready to rock, because the dollar is going to go like that. And as soon as it does that, Bitcoin goes the other way. So, hugely bullish time for Bitcoin if we get that move. It's also, a lot of people always ask about the correlation between Bitcoin and stocks and the NASDAQ and things like that. So let's have a look at this. I thought this was really interesting today. So September, Bitcoin up basically 4%. Let's look at the S&P 500. Monthly candle down 5%. Bear in mind, the S&P 500 is a $33 trillion market. Bitcoin's about 500 billion. So 5% of 33 trillion versus a 4% positive move in a 500 billion asset. The correlation is a lot weaker right now. NASDAQ, tech companies, down another 5%. And the Dow Jones, down 4%. These are huge markets. Huge money that moves these markets. To move 5% in the S&P 500 at 33 trillion market cap takes a lot of selling pressure. And for me, I think it's just begun. Whereas Bitcoin, the dollar's rallied, stocks have dumped, and Bitcoin's just moved sideways, if anything up. That is very bullish for me. And that's why we took that long in CC Pro, because we're getting in at a really good entry, because we could see Bitcoin just go on in an absolute rally. Now, none of this is to say that we don't expect Bitcoin to drop. Bitcoin could absolutely dump 20% in the next 24 hours. That's what Bitcoin does. But over the course of the next quarter, I think Bitcoin is going to be probably challenging. If we get through 28k, then we'll blast this 31,000 resistance. This is going to be the test. This double 200 MA area at 28k. But if we blast that, then it is all going to go off. Good question, Scooby. Very good question. If we flip back to this, you can see the market's pretty much always hot in October. November's a bit of a mixed bag, but if you look at 2019 was the last run up to the halving, so it was negative. But then if you go back 4 years from that, 2015 was this one here, it was positive. So there's no real trend, I would say, leading up to the bull run. What I would say is, as a quarter, it's a very bullish quarter. 2022, obviously, pretty negative, but 2022 is the bottom year. So, and if you go back to 2018, 4 years prior to 2022, that was also the bottom year, and you can see how negative it was. So no matter what we say, what I would say is we're through the worst of it. 2022 was the worst, and I can't see it getting much worse than that. We're now on the straight run to the halving, less than 6 months. And I read an interesting thing today. So the halving works on blocks. So it's nothing to do with time, dates. It's to do with how many blocks get mined. And because so many people want to get involved in mining Bitcoin as we lead up to the halving, the speed of the blocks actually increases a little bit. So right now I think the date is looking at the 17th of April. It's more likely that that's going to come forward to around the 8th to the 10th of April. That was the report I read. So yeah, we're less than 6 months away, and it looks like that date's going to actually come forward. So really exciting. As we know, the halving, regardless of what you read on Twitter, the halving is still a key part of Bitcoin's cycle, because it cuts the issuance in half. Anytime you cut supply in any asset, price should increase if demand stays the same. But we know demand is going to go through the roof with a spot ETF. If you're just joining us, we've covered a few bits of Bitcoin, but we've still got loads to cover tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. Declan, considering rotating small amount of alts into Bitcoin. I suppose it depends on your portfolio. The only reason you wouldn't do that for me is let's take an altcoin. Let's take Uni, because it's in our basket. So let's take Uni. So if we go to the weekly chart on Uni, if you've been accumulating Uniswap down here, so let's just, so say you started accumulating Uniswap here, January 2022. So you've accumulated for basically almost 2 years, 616 days you've accumulated it here. If you sell a proportion here, you're only going to be able to buy in higher, because it's probably not going to go below $4. So $4 is pretty much the bottom for Uniswap. So if you were to sell your alts and rotate into Bitcoin, you're never going to get an opportunity to buy Uniswap at that price again. And that goes for all the altcoins. You've had basically 2 years to accumulate them. You could pick any altcoin. Pick AXS. Look, this is exactly what I mean. So AXS bottomed here November 2022, and it's came back to test it. So yeah, it might drop and it might get cheaper, but chances are it's kind of bottomed around here. So it's only got upside from here. So if you rotate into Bitcoin, when you rotate back out of Bitcoin into an altcoin, you're never going to get it as cheap as you can. So it really depends on your personal circumstances. Bitcoin always runs first, but the market will run with it. It just lags behind. So I can show you a prime example of what I mean by the market lags. Let me flip over to this chart. So if we go back to 2017, Bitcoin peaked on the 11th of December 2017. Don't know why. But if we look at Ethereum, which basically is the altcoin market, Ethereum didn't peak till the 8th of January. So that's about a month later. So probably 4 weeks. So 4 weeks later, Ethereum topped out. So Bitcoin does lead, but at the same time, Ethereum was still pumping. It's not like Ethereum was staying down here waiting on Bitcoin peaking and then running. Ethereum was still pumping while Bitcoin was running. It just lagged a little bit behind. So yeah, I wouldn't be sacrificing my low buy-ins right now to buy Bitcoin. Plus, to be honest, it's a great question, Declan. I'm glad you brought it up, but now's not really... I mean, you've kind of missed the prime buying point for Bitcoin. You should have been accumulating it down here. So, would I sell some of my alts to buy Bitcoin at 27k? Probably not. Unless it's an altcoin that I've lost interest in, or I don't believe in it anymore, or maybe it has a exit pump. You see that sometimes. Let's have a look at Solana. I think Solana just had a massive pump today. So, you know, if I bought Solana here and it's currently up 130%, then, you know, would I consider taking some profit out of that and putting it into something else? Perhaps that might be a strategy. But no, I wouldn't be selling anything I've accumulated. Bear in mind that even though Solana's up 130%, it's still down 91% from its all-time high. So everybody's different. It all depends on your goals, what you want to achieve, and also how aggressively you've been buying at these lows. If you've not been buying aggressively, then that's a different story. Kieran, what are the odds of another big correction pre-halving? Great question as well. Pretty likely, to be fair, Kieran. I wouldn't. It's not up only, and we covered this a few weeks ago, I think. Now, this is the run-up to the 2020 halving. So we had the summertime sideways boring. We had the pump. So where was this? This is December 2019. So we were up 47% between December and February 2020. And the halving was in May 2020. And then we had this massive crash. Now, it was the COVID crash, but chicken and egg. Would it have happened anyway? Probably. If we go back, let me show you, and we'll take out the COVID noise. So as you can see, I think the halving was June 2016. So yeah, this was the, I'm sure this was the halving in June 2016, and you can see that there was big pumps and dumps all the way to it, and then a dump after as well. So yeah, Bitcoin pumps and dumps, that is literally what it does. It moves up and it'll correct aggressively, and it's just market makers chasing liquidity. So yeah, there probably is a chance that it'll correct back down. It really depends on how high we get pre-halving and what news comes out. I've got a kind of sneaky suspicion that if we do get ETF news, we'll get an approval, which will cause Bitcoin to go absolute berserk. But the day of the ETF actually going live might be buy the rumor, sell the news event, and we could actually absolutely pump, and then the day the ETF's due to go live, we absolutely crash because everybody's piled in and market makers know that they can sell and make an absolute fortune that day. We saw it with El Salvador. Everybody was expecting the El Salvador news to be very bullish for Bitcoin. On the day it got adopted as legal tender, the price dumped. So buy the rumor, sell the news is huge, and it's something to watch out for. Bitcoin's not Anthony Hegarty, the machine. Anyone joining us that isn't in CC Pro, we covered it earlier, but you get all this analysis every single day, and it's hours upon hours that you couldn't possibly do yourself. So sign up to CC Pro if you're not already a member. You are leaving something on the table, put it that way, if you're not a member, and getting all the alpha we drop every single day. Did anyone take part in the Favor seed round recently? Seed rounds are huge, and that is another big reason why getting involved in CC Pro is going to be huge, because we cover seed rounds massively, and we're going to have a lot coming in the next quarter to do with seed rounds. Nice, Declan. Good. I thought you might get in on it, to be fair. I thought that's right up your street, a seed round. And you took part in the crypto course, so you obviously understand the importance of seed rounds. Well, they're going to be massive. JJ, good lad. Nice, Jamie. Yeah, seed rounds are huge, and there's loads of big news coming to CC Pro this quarter on them. Okay, so we're just going to review the trade that we took recently in CC Pro. I'm going to show you all why we took it and what we're kind of expecting from the coming days for it. So I'm just going to, I had taken the trend line off the chart, but it was something like this. Now, if anyone knows me as MD, been following us, I don't really like diagonal trend lines too much, because for me, they're a bit hit or miss, shall we say. And as you can see, this one's a prime example. So it's a great trend line, touches it here. Let's try and sort this. And this is what's wrong with diagonal trend lines. So you can see, touched it here, touched it here, touched it here, and on the fourth attempt, we blasted through. So again, rule of three, prime example of why we follow it. Now, the reason diagonals aren't always that accurate is because people hit their stops. So you always have to give a wide stop loss if you're trading a trend line, and just be careful that it's not a fake out, which you'll have seen so many times in crypto. And we'll switch over to the 4-hour time frame in a minute, and I'll show you exactly what we talked about. We basically entered on this retest. Let me try and zoom in for you. So this was our trade setup. So we broke out of the trend line, and then we held it as support with that red candle. So a great entry. You don't want to dive in here, because it could be a fake out and it could come crashing back through the trend line. So once that holds as support, that's your trigger to go long. So we went long. As you can see, we are in a bit of profit just now. Depending on your leverage, we were up. Let me get rid of this. So we took profit at 1.3%. So if you were 100x, that's 130% profit. So we took profit there, and we just waited on Bitcoin coming back down. Moved our stop loss into profit as well. So we've got no risk on this trade whatsoever. And that's the type of trades we bring to CC Pro. If you're not following, or you're not in CC Pro, or you just have never taken part in the trades, we always look for low risk trades. We're not into high risk, chasing big massive 10, 20 hour trades. We're just chasing slow and steady, regular profit taking trades. And this is a nice and easy one. We took profit here, we'll wait on it coming back, and we'll re-enter again once we drop back down to this $27,000 level, which we'll probably do in the next few hours, I would imagine, as the futures market opens We'll re-enter, and again, we'll hope to hit this 28k level. And again, we'll take profit there. We'll wait on it retracing, and we'll just keep playing that out, because I think Bitcoin's going to keep this uptrend going. If we look at the 4-hour chart, you can see so easy to pick an entry. Retest here, closes here, and then boom. And as you can see, the trend line's been respected. If we actually switch to 3-day, I want to show you something pretty cool. If this works, it might not work. So that trend line, okay, so I'll just show you something pretty cool. So this is our trend line that we're following right now. If we extend this trend line all the way left, look where it goes to. Right back to the very peak of Bitcoin in November 2021. So that trend line that we're playing now actually dates back to November 2021, the peak of the bull run, where it hits it perfectly. So if anybody wanted confluence that is a valid trend line, there you go. And that is the magic of charts. Main Deck do a lot of talking about charts because they tell the story before you hear it on Twitter or the news. Kieran got in the favour seed round. You didn't get a lot. That's fine. Seed rounds, you won't need a lot. That's the beauty of them. The whole point in getting a seed round. So I think favour was valued at $80 million. $80 million is tiny. So you don't need a lot of seed rounds to make massive gains. So yeah, don't be put off. Even if you got $100, $200, if that 200x's, you're laughing. Yeah, that's the beauty of seed rounds. So basically you're getting in before anyone else that's not in the know. Normally, you can't get access to seed rounds. So normally seed rounds are reserved for hedge funds, VC firms, no one else. You or I wouldn't be able to take part in a seed round, but because of SwissBorg, and that's the power of SwissBorg, they give us access to investments that we wouldn't normally get access to. So anyone that didn't take part in favour, the next time you get offered access to a seed round, even if you don't care about the project, don't believe in it, I would strongly suggest you try and take part, because they can easily go 100, 200, even more X. So even for $100, if that does 100x, is that 10 grand for $100? You do 2 or 3 of those, you're laughing. So that was our Bitcoin trade. So like I say, we're in really good profits right now. I'll leave this on just so that we can see it. We always have quite a tight stop loss because we don't want to lose capital that we could invest somewhere else. The key in trading is always preservation of capital. Maximize your wins, minimize your losses, have easy stop losses, and don't trade without a stop loss. Kind of basic rules. Let's check in on interest in BNB is in red while most of the market is in green. Not a great sign. It's also, I mean, I suppose this is kind of a trend line. You could probably say that's a trend line, and we've been rejected off it with a bearish doji candle. Yeah, it's kind of a gravestone doji there. It's a bit of a bearish signal. So be interested to see what happens with Binance over the next couple of days. This week could be key for Binance, because if we hit this support, we could fall straight through it. Or it could be an absolute fake out. Everyone piles into shorts right here, and then Binance just reverses. That wouldn't be uncommon in crypto, to be fair. Alright, any other questions? Dogecoin also in the red today. Interesting. XRP still struggling with this daily MA, but we could just come back down, test this, and then off again. That'd be interesting. Does anyone hold gold, physical or digital? Gold's an amazing buying opportunity. We've been talking about gold a lot in alpha recently. It sold off massively last week, just with the dollar strength, down 4%, which obviously is quite a big move for gold. You don't see too many massive dumps, but if we look at where it's came back to, came back to this level here, which was support. It was resistance, support, resistance here, support. So it's came back to quite a key level. Be interested to see if it keeps going back down to the 1814 level. See this level here. It's interacted a lot with there. This is our target, well, my target for gold. I think $2,100 per ounce of gold is an easy target, and I think it will actually hit it before the end of Q1 2024. I think the central banks around the world are accumulating at ridiculous pace, but also central banks are in a mess and they're going to debase their currency. So I think this is a very reasonable target. I think once we get out of here, we're going to see the reverse of this and a massive green candle, similar to this one here. You know, we had sell off, sell off, sell off, and then boom. And I'm pretty sure this was the regional bank crisis. Yeah. So this was when the banks blew up in the US in March. So leading up to that, gold started pumping, and then the regional banks blew up and gold put in a 6.5% candle. I would expect us to see some massive moves in gold soon, and this is why. So this was after COVID. Gold, in the space of, what's that, 8 weeks, we did a 21% move in gold, and that's just because of money printing, inflation, and the fiscal response by central banks. And we're going to see that again. So gold, Bitcoin, I think they're going to have a massive move in the coming weeks and months. And again, Q4, it will be bullish for gold, I would imagine. Declan, you hold some gold. Nice. Is it physical or digital? Just out of interest. Apparently Costco's now selling physical gold in the States, and it's sold out within days. Sadly not, Evan. We're getting there, but no, it's not hit 100k. Thanks for joining. Anyone just joining the stream, we've kind of spoke a lot about Bitcoin in terms of Q4. We're very bullish, and this is one of the reasons why. It's just history. You never bet against the trend. The trend is your friend until the end, and the trend for October is green. So we are very bullish on Bitcoin in October, and really for the rest of the quarter, leading up to Christmas. Maybe a correction kind of February, March time, and then the halving at the start of April. We were talking about the halving earlier. The halving is creeping forward just due to the speed of blocks being produced. It typically speeds up in the run up to halving, so it'll probably end up being the start of April we see the halving. But Bitcoin's in a really good position. We need to tackle this resistance at 28k, which I think we'll do maybe this week, depending on what happens. We've also got XRP, which we've covered quite a lot in CC Pro, in a nice solid uptrend, and it has been all year since the 2nd of January. We bottomed out and then an uptrend. We need to start breaking through some of these resistances. Thoughts on UTK, Jamie? Utrust. Yeah, I actually really like the project. I'm pretty bullish on it. I think it'll do very well. I think it... I'm not sure how good the chart will be on here, but let me pull it up. Pretty sure it done all right in the last bull run, but it was probably too early for it. Yeah. So... what did it do? It's peak 793%. It's not bad. But I don't think that was that great, to be fair. I think it'll do a lot better this bull run. There's always a narrative with altcoins in bull runs. So you have like DeFi summer, you'll have Web3, NFTs, every little section will have a run. And it's just how strong that is. But yeah, I like UTK. I don't actually hold any right now. I did hold it in 2021, sold some, well, sold all of it, but I don't hold any. But to be honest, if you don't hold it and it's one that you're interested in, then by looking at this chart, it looks like it's trying to bottom out. So it's at its lowest level. This chart only goes back to September 2020, but yeah, it looks like it's bottoming out. In fact, it looks like it bottomed out September, so a month ago. And it's now trying to work its way out of this bottoming structure. So if you don't hold it, you're probably not going to get it much cheaper than it is today. So looks like a great price to buy in my opinion. Be interested to see if it can start reclaiming some of these levels. If it got above 7 cents, I'd probably be quite happy in saying that it's finally bottomed, and then if it holds that as support, that's probably how it's going to work its way back up and out. No worries, Evan. Thanks for joining. Make sure you like the stream. Anyone on that's not liked it, drop a like and we'll maybe cover your favourite alt if you drop it in the chat once you've hit the like. $140 profit from JJ. You traded XRP. Was that party speculation by any chance? So obviously everybody probably knows there was a XRP party, and we did say in CC Pro a few weeks ago there was likely to be speculation, just people buying in, hoping that there was going to be a massive announcement. So if you bought on Wednesday, you could have traded it up 6%, so 100x leverage, well, say 10x leverage, 60% move. It's not a bad trade, to be fair. And again, the party, this is exactly what we talk about: buy the rumour, sell the news. So this is Friday, everybody's getting excited, what's going to come for the Ripple party, and it sells off. Buy the rumour, sell the news, every single time. Jamie is ball deep in UTK. Wow. I hope your buy-in's as low as... Let's see where you can get. If you've been buying for the last... Let's go to the weekly. So since May. So if you've been buying over the last kind of year and a half, your average should be sub 20 cents. I think that's pretty good, to be fair. All-time high was $1.06. So yeah, I think it'll do much more than that this time. I think there'll be a lot more speculation on things like this time. And as we know, the market cap just increases every single peak bull run. Don't know if this chart will show it, but if you go back to 2017, the peak market cap was 760 billion. 2021, that went up to 3 trillion. So what's that, 4x in market cap? Now, when you're talking about a small altcoin like UTrust or anything else, that amount of excess capital flown into the market can just make altcoins go berserk. So be interested to see where market cap gets this year, or next year, sorry. I would probably say 5 trillion might be a psychological level. That would be half of the market cap of gold as well. 5 trillion, maybe more. People are talking about it taking over gold. Can't see that. I can't see it getting to 10 trillion. I think 2028 halving might cause it to get to 10 trillion, but I can't see it doing it next one. And this is what you're going to have to learn. Everybody tuning in should learn that everyone's going to be screaming that the market cap's going to overtake gold. Don't buy into the hype. Make sure you have a plan for getting out the market at the peak hype up here. Don't wait out for, because people up here would have been screaming it's going to 5 trillion. And obviously it reversed very quickly and we're back down at $1 trillion. So I think that's something to be cautious of. Just going to flick back to our CC Pro trade that we took. As you can see, it's coming back down. We've got another entry around here. So we've got a limit order here and it looks like it's just about to get hit. Remove that. Yeah. So it looks like it's just about to get hit. So we're going to re-enter with a small position. If it keeps dropping back to the trend line, keep adding until we hit here. We've already taken quite a lot of profit off this trade, so pretty much risk-free. Yeah, Declan, to be fair, physical gold is the way I'd go, but obviously you can only hold so much. SwissBorg offers digital gold as a token, packs, I'm sure it is. So yeah, I would look into that if you want to accumulate more. But the number one place to get exposure to gold is the golden thematic on SwissBorg. Anyone that's not familiar with what a thematic is or what benefits they are, check out our podcasts on the Web3 and the golden thematic. We just dropped the blockchain thematic podcast today. The golden thematic is where I'd be putting anything that I wanted. Protection against inflation, central banks. I would, it's like a pension or a savings fund for me, the golden thematic. So rather than buy any more gold, you might want to look at that, Declan. That would be kind of my advice for anyone that doesn't have any exposure to gold. Maybe look at the thematics. MV, where's MV? It's here. So MV looks like it's starting to bottom out. It's not really had this bottoming structure. Let's go to the weekly and see if we can see it better. So you can see it's pretty much fell down, 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 down. Whereas now it's actually starting to round out. So a rounded bottom is the kind of bottoming structure we're looking for here. And it's actually quite a bullish structure. So let me see if I can draw it on. Let's see. So it kind of look like that. And if we get that shape, that's very bullish bottoming structure for anything. But it looks like MV starting to do that. So yeah, if we continue this period of consolidation, we probably want this to play out for a couple of months. You know, kind of up, down, just in this range here. So you kind of want it to go sideways, maybe up like that. That's kind of what you want to happen. Now, for anyone in this trade, it looks like it's hit our limit order and bounced. So So hopefully we're going to see some volatility in the markets. The futures market opens shortly. That's going to cause volatility. And we've also got all the yields to see how they play out. Declan, Rose X's #1 fan. Love it. Another thing you should maybe have a look at, anyone that's into their metals, is silver. I go on about this all the time, so you've probably heard me talk about it before, but silver dumped last week as well. But again, it came back to a great level. As you can see, it's been at this level numerous times before. If we switch to the daily, you'll be able to see it more clearly. So here, back in June, March, back here, February, December 2022. You can go back all the way to July 2020. Silver was back here. And silver, relative to gold, is very undervalued. So I think silver will have a very bullish couple of years, especially because silver has a lot of use cases, especially in like renewable energy, production of cars, things like that. There's a lot of components that use silver. So I would imagine we're going to see a big silver rally in the coming year. Yeah, Jamie. Yeah, I did get involved. I think, to be honest, I did my best to get every person in SwissBorg, in CC Pro involved in the SwissBorg Series A. Anyone that's not familiar with what that was, SwissBorg Series A gave members of SwissBorg an opportunity to buy a stake in the company and invest in SwissBorg, the actual business. They gave us a ridiculously cheap valuation for a company so progressive in the crypto space, but also a company that's way undervalued in my opinion. So yeah, took part. I actually wish I'd put more in, but again, another unique opportunity that you get from SwissBorg that you don't get from anywhere else. Yeah, Bitcoin looks like it could be gearing up for another test of this level, 27,250-ish. So a quick recap, October is looking huge, a very green month traditionally. As I said before, and anyone that's listened to the podcast recently knows that the reason I'm so bullish on Bitcoin is I believe it's going to be the safe haven trade from the traditional financial system. You can see on this chart here, October, super green, but also, we covered this earlier, but if you look at the yield on government debt, the US Treasuries are at all-time highs from 2007. So the US is in a bit of a sticky situation, and that's going to be bullish for Bitcoin and gold as they debase the currency to protect their economy basically. And here's oil as well. Now I don't trade oil, but anyone that follows me, that sees me talk about MAs, look at this. Held the weekly MA perfectly, and if you'd taken this trade here, you'd be up 35% on a commodity. That's huge. So that's oil. Good question, Anthony, the door smasher. Let's have a look. So yeah, you're kind of right. There's two sides to it. You can have a look at recent history, but what you want in any chart is history, and there's just not enough on a new coin, and there's also not enough on a lot of alts because they're not listed on enough places with volume, so the charts aren't great on some alts. But if we look at LimeWire, This is a daily chart. This is where we said LimeWire would come back to when it was pumping. About 2 months ago, we literally highlighted this, showed it to members, showed it was a great time to take profit, and this is where we thought we'd retrace to. So we got a bit deeper in the retracement, but we're now back up out of this. The LimeWire is still very speculative, still very new, so we're going to see big moves up and down. We might have some exciting news about LimeWire coming to CC Pro very soon, so make sure you're tuned in for that, because it could be very exciting for what's coming. But yeah, in terms of the path, it's hard to say. This looks like a bit of a double top, so if it was a double top, then the target would be roughly here. So if that double top plays out, then it could be there. But then you could also say that's potentially a double top, and if that was to play out, that would be a lot worse for the coin, and it would go on to break a new low. So hopefully they don't play out. That one's probably less likely because it's taken so long. This one could be like a mini double top. You only know if it breaks this level here. If it does, then we're likely going down here. Like I say, you need some history, but you can still look at the charts. You can still identify key areas. Like we could say this was an area of inflection, if you like, and when we pumped, we labelled it as a place to take profits, and any of our members that followed that would have got out, been able to wait on it retracing, and bought back in and got some extra coins. And that's an easy way of accumulating more of a project. Just sell any of the green candles, wait for it to retrace, especially in a bear market, and then buy back in. Obviously, when it comes to the bull run, you're going to be selling and selling and selling, and not worrying too much about buying back in. But in a bear market, sell the rallies and buy the dips is an easy way of accumulating more and more coins. And this is what I was talking about with MV. MD that missed that. If we look at this on the 3-day chart, you see that rounded bottom. So we drop, downtrend, downtrend, and then eventually we level off and kind of form this curved bottom. If we look at MV on the weekly, that's exactly what we're going through now. So we've had this drop, downtrend, and we're now starting to level off, and hopefully we'll get a curve up and move up out of this. So we'll maybe drop a post on this actually in CC Pro tomorrow, just a potential short-term quick profit taking trade. Let me have a look at it. Let's see how it plays out tonight, and CC Pro members will get notified tomorrow if there is potential play there. We have 3 hours 45 minutes of the weekly close to come, and for me it's looking very bullish. We're about to complete a 3.5% candle at the end of September. That is very, very bullish for me, and it continues our uptrend we've been in since the start of the year. As you can see, higher low, higher low, higher low. We're still on an uptrend, and I think the next area is 28k, so all eyes on that. Does everyone use TradingView? Does everybody do their own TA? Does everybody look at charts? The charts tell the story before the news. You can look at the charts and you can pretty much predict what's coming. So if you don't, then it's something we help with in Discord, but also spend some time looking at charts. Obviously we can help anyone that wants to learn more. Just get in touch. Declan, you must be pretty chuffed. Your number one coin has rallied 6% today, but it's up. So, yeah, 20% in the last few days. You must be loving DMTR. And again, you can see that working its way out. Downtrend, bottoming out, hopefully back up. So all the altcoins are kind of following the same path just now. I want to see what happens with Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's going to lead the next rally. The altcoin markets will chase it, but it'll be the start of the show until it consolidates off, and then we'll see a rally for some alts. Yeah. Look at that. AVAX just rounding off. XRP versus Bitcoin still looks pretty bullish to me. It's held the daily, seems to be working its way up. If we can tackle this weekly MA, then we could see XRP run. And of course, Ethereum versus Bitcoin. This is a key chart for the altcoins. It does look like we've formed this bullish candle, but there's still a lot of weakness and potential downside to come, I think, before the halving. Does anyone have any other coins they want to look at? Any other questions? No? Well, thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you've liked the video or the stream. If you're not in CC Pro, you're missing out. You need to be informed. Bear markets aren't just for buying cheap altcoins. They're for educating yourself so that, one, you can make the most of the crypto bull market, but also you don't get caught buying tops, selling low and buying high, which is the absolute opposite of what you want to do. So if you're not a member, jump in now. We're in the chat room, we answer questions, we drop news and daily analysis every single day. Not to mention Q4, we have some massive exclusives for CC Pro members only, and there will be something to do with seed rounds coming as well. So CC Pro members only will get that stuff. It doesn't go out to the public, and to be honest, for £40 a month you can make that back in one winning trade. We took 100% profit on this Bitcoin trade. We've already taken profit on it, so if you had put $100 in this trade, you could have taken $100 profit to paid for your subscription for 2 months. So it's a no-brainer for me. But thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for liking the stream, and we will catch you again soon. Thanks very much.
Through the